What's going on, guys? Gabe the Great back here again. And I was actually working on a video, but I wanted to stop and say something about this situation that's going on in the WNBA because I thought it was a good story and I wanted to make a comment on it. So if you guys don't know, Maya Moore is going through some issues with her team, the Minnesota Lynx. Now, if you don't know who Maya Moore is, Maya Moore, in my opinion, is the greatest female basketball player ever, right? She is the one WNBA player, not the one. I think Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, a few others, Breanna Stewart, but she is the main one that I would say, in my opinion, I would always pay money to see. Maya Moore plays the game beautifully. I won't say she plays it better than some men because, let's not compare men to women. But Maya Moore is one of the greatest female basketball players of all time. Honestly, she might be one of the most decorated American female athletes of all time. I mean, you're talking about, let me put into perspective of how good Maya Moore is, okay? From her freshman year in high school to her senior year in college, she only lost 7 games and she won 5 championships. Then she got to the WNBA and won 4 more championships, a couple gold medals, and a EuroLeague championship. So Maya Moore, in my opinion, is the best player, the best female basketball player, not just today, but ever. I know some people think Breanna Stewart's the best player in the WNBA. I challenge that and say Maya Moore. But anyway, back to the story. So Maya Moore is having some issues with the Minnesota Lynx. The Minnesota Lynx did not have a good season this year after going on a 7-year run where they basically won 4 championships. And Maya Moore had a slightly down year. It wasn't her best season by any stretch of the imagination. But essentially what happened at the end of the year, her and her teammate Tina Charles got what's called the core designation. So the core designation is similar to the franchise tag in the NFL. Except with the core designation in the WNBA, you can be cored up to 4 times in your career. And it keeps you off the free agency market, just like the franchise tag. It keeps you off the free agency market, so you can't become a free agent. This is one of the reasons why in the WNBA, the stars typically stay with their teams a lot longer. There's not as much player mobility in the WNBA. If you really think about the core designation, it's really a crappy designation to begin with, because basically you have your 4-year rookie contract, then you can be cored up to 4 times. So basically, if you're a really, really good player, they'll just make sure you never hit the free agency market for 8 years, which is kind of dumb, right? And it doesn't add any excitement or element of what's going to happen in the WNBA season to season, because you pretty much know most teams are going to come back exactly the way they are. So right now, Maya Moore she's having a bit of issues with the Minnesota Lynx. And so right now, she's either considering retiring or taking a year off of basketball. Now, Maya Moore has essentially played year-round basketball since she became a professional, playing here in America and overseas. And so I can understand if she wants to take some time off. I really hope she doesn't retire. It would be very bad for women's basketball if Maya Moore retired. It would be terrible for the WNBA. But in my opinion, Maya Moore is the biggest bargaining chip that the players in the WNBA have to get either pay more money to change their collective bargaining agreement. And in my opinion, Maya Moore should sit out the 2019 season and demand a trade. So one of the reasons why I think the WNBA has failed big time is because they have this amazing star in Maya Moore, and they just don't know how to promote her, right? Like, Maya Moore is nearly the perfect female superstar, right? Attractive, is dominant at her sport, never in trouble, wholesome, all that good stuff, right? I mean, she's a great winner, and for whatever reason, she is not. I think she is widely recognized in the basketball community, But she's got to become more widely recognized to casual fans. And that's really the key. Is yes, your core base can love your superstars, but you really got to figure out a way for casual people to fall in love with your stars. Even people who don't play basketball know who LeBron James is, or know who Steph Curry is, or know who Kevin Durant is. And that's the goal. You got to get a player to the point where even casual people or people who don't even watch your sport knows who they are. That's how you really are successful. And the WNBA has not been able to do that with Maya Moore, who has been one of the most dominant female basketball players since she entered the league in 2011. And this is where I think Maya Moore has a lot of leverage and can really, in effect, save the WNBA. Because one of the things I feel like the players don't have is leverage. You always hear about players going on Twitter complaining about, oh, they don't get paid this, they don't get paid that. And whenever I see someone complain on Twitter, it just tells me that they don't have leverage. And so they're going to social media to drum up, awareness and to drum up people to support them because they don't have leverage. Maya Moore, I think, is the one WNBA star who has leverage. Because Maya Moore is so critical to the WNBA. She really, really is. And what I think Maya Moore should do is she should sit the 2019 season and demand a trade to the Los Angeles Sparks. That's what I think she should do. I think she should sit and demand a trade to the Los Angeles Sparks. Now, why the Los Angeles Sparks? One of the things that really helps out a sport is when you have dominant franchises. You could almost say the WNBA was at its peak when the Houston Comets were running everything. Like the Houston Comets were one of the best franchises. I think they won like 4 championships early on. The Minnesota Lynx have been good, but then, the Sparks have got a couple of championships in there. Seattle Storm this year. But I think Maya Moore should demand a trade to Los Angeles for multiple reasons. One, you can have a dynasty. Dynasties are always good for sports leagues. Think about it. In the 80s and 90s, when the Lakers and Celtics were running everything, it was good for the NBA. In the 90s, when the Bulls were running everything, it was good for the NBA. In the early 2000s, when the Lakers were running everything, it was good for the NBA. Nowadays, when the Golden State Warriors are running things, it's good for the NBA. Even look at women's college basketball. UConn was good for women's college basketball. Why? Because when you have a dominant team, when you have one dominant team, people want to pay money to see that team. And one of the problems with the WNBA is that they don't have that dominant franchise anymore. It used to be the Houston Comets, but the Houston Comets are no more, and eventually they got to get a team back in Houston. That's beside the point. But so number one, they need a dominant dynasty in the WNBA. The other thing that it would do, it would put Maya Moore in a market that could maximize her potential. Maya Moore is signed to Jordan Brand. I think if she got to LA, I really do believe that she could come out with a great feature shoe that I think would do very, very, very well amongst women. I would get my girl loves the Jordan brands. My daughter, that's all the basketball shoe she's wearing is Jordan. I think if Jordan came out with a Maya Moore shoe, I think for sure my daughter would want some. But I think she has an opportunity. She has a lot of leverage right now. And I really do believe that Maya Moore is the key in saving the WNBA. Because what it's going to do is going to bring attention to the sport. And it's going to force them to change rules that will increase player mobility. And player mobility is good for your sport because it gives you something to talk about in the offseason. If in the offseason we're talking about where's Maya Moore going to go, where's Breanna Stewart going to go, where are all the stars, the good players of the WNBA, it builds some stuff up, okay? So I wanted to bring that to your attention because I think this is pivotal. And I think if Maya Moore plays her cards right, and if the other players get behind her and go from the complaining kind of we want more stuff to the, hey, let's take strategic action to get what we want, I really think something can happen there. So just wanted to talk about that. Like it if you like it, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Peace.